Hi guys, welcome back. This is the Big Sew Along and I'm Ginny, and this week we are talking about the Trish Newbery Metro dress. Before I get to that, I wasn't here last week because if you watch me, you'll know I was out of town. I was in Kentucky at a wedding, and I just wanted to show you really quickly the final outfit that I ended up wearing. I showed you guys a couple of months ago my version of Vogue 1739. That is the top I wore. I ended up not making the pants that go with that. My pants are made out of chantilly lace, and I just used the Diane Ericson Capitola pant because it doesn't have a side seam, and because it's lace and you can see everything, I just preferred if I could do something without a side seam. Now I probably could have managed to do something like that with the pant that's included here, but because it's a narrow leg pant, it would have had to be either tapered really tightly on the inside, or I would have had to put like a dart or something in the hem, which is, again, I just didn't want to show that. So anyways, this is the final look. I was really happy with it. I love the dress. Kentucky was beautiful. I did stop at a fabric store in Cincinnati on my way down there, and it was called, I think it was called Silk Road Textiles. I did not buy anything because I was with my husband, but but they had really beautiful stuff, so if you're in that area, definitely check them out. Okay, so the Metro t-shirt dress from Trish Newbery is a delinquent video. It was supposed to have this done last Friday for our Friday sews, but I finished it. I am wearing it today. I finished it, and then I decided that I thought I made a really poor fabric choice, so I wanted to make it again, which is why it's late. So I did. I've made two, and I'll show you them both. The differences are, the first one, I used a nylon lycra spandex from, it's a Norma Kamali fabric, and I got that at Haberman Fabrics here in Detroit. The one I'm wearing today is 100% organic cotton, and this is a fabric that I got from Stone Mountain and Daughter, and I got this last year during shutdown here in Michigan, so they will more than likely not have exactly this fabric. However, I know that if you're looking for a good nice t-shirt weight organic cotton jersey, they usually have some, and I had 3 pieces of this fabric, and they were all very nice. Okay, so let's go over the pattern first, and then I'll show you a couple of tutorials, and then I'll give you a wrap-up on my whole feelings about the thing. So the Metro dress is, this is listed as, also, just so you guys know, before I forget, if you use the code BIGSEW, all caps, on Trish Newbery's website, you get, I think it's 25% off of this Metro dress pattern if you want to give it a shot. Okay, so the description is the perfect slouchy dress with a shape that is effortless cool. This oozes style and is a relaxed fit. The pattern is a cold shoulder asymmetric dress with 2 summer neckline options. It is designed to be worn as a casual summer dress. This design features a midi length with 1 short sleeve and 1 cold shoulder sleeve. Now, that said, you can also do 1 long sleeve and 1 cold shoulder sleeve. There's that option in there, just so you know. The pattern sizing is double extra small to double extra large. She has a really nice, it's a PDF pattern, but Trish Newbery, as far as I can tell, most of her patterns have multiple ways of printing. So for this one, you have a regular PDF, you have the AO size, you also have the layered and trimless, both AO and US, sorry, A4 and US letter print PDF. Sorry, it's just the one where you just like line up the edges so you don't have to cut any of the fabric off. I mean, sorry, any of the paper off. I love those. It's so much faster to put together. I actually do not have a problem with PDF patterns in the first place. I don't mind doing the trimming and the pasting and all of that stuff. But if you don't have to do the trimming, obviously it's faster. And so I also feel like sometimes when you trim, if you don't trim exactly straight, your pages fit together a little wonky, or you're not really like, you know, so it's easier if with the trimless option, it's easier to get your pattern pages straight. Okay, enough about that. So the difficulty level she's given this is a 2 out of 5. This has 2 necklines, and I made both necklines. I made the higher neckline in the first dress, and then this one is the scoopier neckline. As I said, it has a short sleeve, which is the one I made on both of mine because I made it for summer, but there is a long sleeve version. And so the fabric she suggests, it says designed for trans-seasonal or summer weight knits. Please purchase a knit fabric, jersey, that has a good stretch, as the garment requires this to fit properly. A suggested stretch is 50% plus. You will need good crossbody stretch and some vertical stretch. Please choose knits with good recovery. I will say that the reason I wanted to make this again is because I felt like the nylon lycra jersey, as much as I liked it, I felt like it had too much vertical stretch and was maybe stretching out of shape. In retrospect, I think that is not the case. I think that I just needed to shorten the dress. But I didn't figure that out until after I made the second one. Anyways, okay, so fabric choice. So to go a little deeper into the fabric choices, 100% cotton knit, modal, I don't really know how to say that. Cotton lycra, stretch velvet. I think this could be really cool in stretch velvet. T-shirt weight knits, bamboo, viscose, jersey knit, light ITY, something called new yarn, which is spelled NUYARN. I don't know what that is. Merino knit, double brush polyester, light merino knit, and mid-weight knits, double brushed polyester. Okay, I actually think this would be great in almost all of those things. My only thing is that it is a little bit longer dress, so just be careful about how much vertical stretch you get, because it could stretch out of shape just because of the weight of the dress. Okay, so for sizing, the double extra small through 2XL. So let's see, the bust on this goes from a 31 inches to 44 inches, which is 80 centimeters to 112 centimeters. Waist 26 to 39 inches, or 67 to 99 centimeters. Hips, so 36 to 49 inches, or 93 to 125 centimeters. Let's see. If your fabric is 150 centimeters wide, you need 2.3 meters. 60 inches wide, which I assume is the same thing. 2 and 5/8 of a yard. I had more of that for my yellow fabric. I think I actually had 3 yards of that yellow fabric. Okay, so this is actually a super simple construction. It's literally a front, a back, and a neckband. And the front and the back use the same pattern piece to cut. You just cut the neckline differently for the front. So it's really super easy. I am not doing a full sew along on this, which is what my original plan was. But the thing is that Trish Newbery has a sew along, I think, for every single one of her patterns on her YouTube channel. And I'm going to link that below, because if you watch the video, you'll whip this up in no time. What I will show you is, I thought I was really clever and came up with a different way to finish off this cold shoulder slit and the armhole opening. So it turns out I wasn't all that clever. I personally think that the way Trish does it in her video is better, but I'm going to show you the clips anyway, because then you'll know what not to do. So here's the first shoulder seam sewn, and that is, just so you see what I'm talking about on the pattern here, this is the neckline. This is this shoulder seam that I've just sewn. So this is the neck here, so the front, and this is the back. This is the shoulder seam. And you can see right here where I have the split. All I did was sew my seam, and then I pressed the seam allowance for the opening, for the split shoulder opening. I just pressed it open. Now, what she tells you to do is just stitch around this opening. So you would stitch down here and just follow your, on mine I'm going to follow my serging because I have serging, but if you don't, you would just be more or less in the middle of your seam allowance here. And then you would come down to here and pivot and come back up this way and pivot again across this way. So you're sewing down this whole opening. What I am going to attempt to do is just do stitch straight all the way down this seam on both sides. That is going to give me top stitching on the outside of this seam, or what will look like detailed top stitching. But hopefully it will also reinforce this, because this is actually a pretty big piece of fabric. Now my fabric isn't terribly heavy, so it may not even need that, but a lot of times on a knit shirt you will see where people put a little piece of interfacing or something along the seam line to reinforce that seam. I'm hoping that stitching this on both sides will do that for me. Also, for this, just so you know, when I'm sewing a knit fabric like this, I'm using a jersey or a ballpoint needle. My stitch length is a little bit longer than usual. My sewing machine's normal stitch length is 2.4. This one, when I sew jerseys, I set it at 3.0. I also reduced my presser foot tension by 1 notch. It's usually at 4, and for knits I use it at 3. If you don't know where the presser foot tension is on your sewing machine, you should Google it, but it's, I'm going to try to take a picture of mine and insert it here so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so that's my top stitching done on that seam, and it looks okay. I mean, my top stitching isn't the best. It's a little wonky. It's not bad. I did end up putting a row of stitching right here at the bottom of my slit, and again here at the top of my split, which is what she suggests in her video, and also in the directions, just because I realized that these points, even with this top stitching, these points are still a point of stress, and I don't want them to pull apart. So that's done. Okay, so now let's do the other side. So we're going to fold this right sides together, and you can see the way she instructs you to do it is exactly the way we did that. However, here's the thing. You're going to sew up this side, and then here's the armhole. It starts right here and goes up. So once you have this done, then you're going to have to open this up and stitch around that way. So I'm thinking, this has a very small seam allowance. It's only 3/8 of an inch. But I think what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to try this, you'll tell me what you think. I am going to make my slit here, which is the little notch, just a tiny bit bigger. So it's probably right just under 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to go ahead and open this out. I'm going to press the sleeve hem towards my dress at 3/8 of an inch, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch that down. Okay, you can see here where I've pressed my seam hem, my sleeve hem under. I am going to try this, which is a little piece of fusible web. This is about 1/2 inch wide, which is too wide, so I'm just going to cut it in half. So that should be about 1/4 inch wide now. I'm going to put this under here, right in that hem, right up against my crease. I don't want it to stick out. And this is lightweight. It is not the regular, the medium weight. This is the lightest weight they make in this, I don't know, I think this is Steam-A-Seam, but I'll check. So it's in there now, and I'm going to lay this over like this, and I'm going to press that before I do that, before I stitch that down. Hopefully, that will help keep this from puckering or anything. I got a fair amount of puckering on this opening, and I really should have done that over here too. So I'm going to try that first. I'm going to try that now, and we'll see how that looks. Okay, I think that looks pretty good, actually. I have a little bubble here, but that's going to come right out with pressing. So yeah, I think that that's the way to go. If you have the fusible web, that's really easy. All right, so now we're just going to put this right sides together. Okay, now on this side, I'm going to start sewing at the underarm, which is right here. This is our armhole. And you can see right here is where our stitching is. The stitching from our hem is right here. So I'm going to start stitching right there. And then I'm going to taper it out to 3/8 of an inch right here. It's only going to be like a few stitches. You'll be at 3/8 of an inch here, and it's not off by very much. But that'll prevent that little cut edge from peeking through on your underarm. So there we go. We're going to start there and go all the way to the bottom. Just be sure you back tack. So that's my side seam done on that side, and here's my armhole. And I think it looks nice. If I'm honest, I'm not sure that I really like the way that underarm looks because of the way I folded it first. And I'm not sure it's actually any easier than the way she tells you in the directions. So proceed with caution on that one. I do think that that fusible web really helped make my stitches look nice and clean though. And it also gave it a nicer crease on that edge. You can see, yeah. Definitely like the fusible web. Not so sure about my method for the sleeve hem. Okay, so that was the first one that I made. That one is in the rayon lycra jersey. And I'm going to show you some pictures of it here. You can see, I actually love this dress. But I will say that what I don't like about this dress, I still have issues with the fabric. And that is, it's super stretchy and it's super clingy. And because all knits are clingy, like, you got to be really careful about your undergarments. And I'm just not that girl. I'm like, yeah, I mean, so I don't know. Am I going to wear this? I don't know. Maybe because I really love it. It's the fabric, though, that's an issue for me. This pattern, I love this pattern. I want to make this again and again. I think it's a super cool dress. Yeah, so I am curious, though, you guys. Whenever I got that nylon lycra fabric, I always fall in love with it. Like, I love the fabric, or I love the print, or whatever. I love the drapiness of it. And then whenever I make it, I don't like the garment because I don't like, so I wonder if I'm just making the wrong thing with that nylon lycra type fabric. So if you guys have any experience with that, I'm curious to know what you use that for, or what you have used it for successfully. Let me know in the comments below if you have a sec. Okay, so number 2. I didn't try to get fancy on myself on the second one. I learned my lesson on that first one. But I do have a quick little clip to show you here on how I cut the second one, because for the second one, I had not enough fabric. I had 1 yard and 1/3. So I was a little bit short. Yeah, so I'm going to just show you that video really quickly and then we'll come back. Okay, for this one, my fabric is too small. So on this side over here, I have my pattern placed like this. So it's this part of my sleeve is actually off the fabric. And all I'm going to do, it ends right here just about at this notch for the arm opening. So the arm opening would normally be from here to here. I'm actually just going to fold this over like this and cut that exactly like this. So now my armhole will be from here to here, and it'll be at a slight angle and it will be shorter. On this side over here, I have the same problem. My sleeve is going to hang way off of my pattern piece, so I'm going to fold it in a more or less straight line, like this. And now on this side, I'm going to have almost like a cap sleeve. Down here, I've actually had to shorten this about 6 inches, so my fold over is 3 inches, which means that obviously that's not going to meet up. So I don't want to lose this width here. So instead of going like this, I'm actually going to go like this. I'm just going to draw that in with a piece of chalk, just like that. Now when I come to cut this, I'm going to cut it up this way, and I'll just cut straight here. And then my hem is going to be a little bit wonky, but probably what I'll have to do is just open the hem up a little bit so that I can get it to lay flat in there. Alright, so there you go. This one was more successful. As you can see, this one is the scoopy neckline. I will say, I love the scoop. I actually love both necklines. I think I will make this version again, but I'm going to have to close the neckline a little bit on this one. It has a tendency to pull over my bra strap a little bit, so maybe it's just a teeny bit wide. That's the only alteration I would do. I actually think that shortening this 6 inches was perfectly fine. I was a little worried that that was going to be too short. It was not too short at all, even in this fabric, which is much more stable than the first dress. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about this except that I really, really like it a lot. I think this is a really fun, it's a super quick make. It's very satisfying. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I want to make another one. So, aside from this dress, I also purchased the drop crotch joggers pattern from Trish Newbery and the blank slate tee pattern from her. I have not had a chance. I have those both cut out, but I haven't had a chance to work them up yet. So hopefully I'll get those together and be able to show you a quick pic of those next week. Also next week, I'm not going to be doing a sew along next week, but I will have some stuff to talk to you about. The fabric store where I sometimes work, Haberman Fabrics here in the Detroit area, is having a Tina Givens trunk show at the end of July, I think. So for the next month, I'm going to be working on some garments for that trunk show, which I hope will be really fun. I'm going to be working on a couple of things that I've never made before. Most of the things from Tina Givens I have made before, but there are a couple that I haven't, and I'm anxious to give those a shot. And I will have info on those for you guys next week. And I think that is it, you guys. Thanks so much for being patient with my late video today. I really appreciate it. I, as always, appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with me for a little bit. If you've enjoyed this, please hit like, hit subscribe, and definitely come back and see me next week when we'll be talking about some more sewing. Oh, you guys, I forgot to tell you too, if any of you aren't subscribed or just haven't seen it, Anthea from Stitchmaker Studio had a really cool video, and I can't remember if it was last Friday or if it was one day last week. I'm going to link to it below. But she talks about this thing called Notion. It's a computer thing, like a software thing or whatever, that she uses to keep track of all of her patterns. I have a really hard time with that. She doesn't just use it to keep track of her patterns, she uses it to also, so when she goes shopping, she makes sure that she is buying fabric that's appropriate for the patterns she has and all of that stuff. Anyways, I'm just going to link it below because I found it really, really helpful. I just watched that video yesterday. But I'm definitely going to go check out that the website for Notion and see if that's something I can get into, because I loved what she did with it. I thought it was really cool. Alright, now that's it. I'll talk to you guys next week. Happy sewing, everyone.